I would shag the guy that was with Brian in the beginning.
Oh, the
the,
Italian,
the
like
Italian baby
American.
Googler.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He's super cute. I liked him and he seemed really nice. Um, I'd probably marry Michael because I like the awkwardness, I like the dorkiness, I like the nerdiness. That's super sexy to me. Um, and kill, who would I kill? I would probably kill the businessman person.
Want to listen to this Ivory Tower Boiler Room or True Crime and Academia episode ad free? Head on over to our Patreon where I'm giving you all 7 days of a free trial. So patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And if you join the ITBR professor level, which you'll see gets you access to all of our rewatch podcast series like Queer as Folk and Smash, and all of our Teaches series, including when we rewatched Scream with you all, when we discussed The Exorcist. We're about to do a Britney Spears memoir episode. So, oh, and The Fall of the House of Usher is coming up. You also get access to both book clubs. And while you're at it, while you're joining our Patreon, where you're getting your 7 days for free, I would really love if you make sure you like and follow us on Apple or Spotify, and please leave a review. It really does help us in terms of advertisers and sponsors. Thank you all for listening to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room Network. And is just wonderful to be part of this arts and culture organization and have you all out there reach out to me. So again, remember, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And we have a Facebook and we're on X as well. Enjoy this episode, everyone. Hi, this is Dr. Andrew Rimby. And when I'm not here on the podcast, I am consulting with small businesses, undergraduate students, graduate students, podcasters, and those in media. So, if you're curious about the work that I've done with my consultation services, you could just type me in on Google, Ivory Tower Boiler Room, and you'll see a few reviews pop up. I've worked on college admission essays for undergraduate students. I've revamped and expanded a small business's social media marketing campaign right here in Port Jefferson, New York. And I've also worked on a graduate student's thesis for her physician assistant program. So if you want to seek me out or inquire about my consultation services, just email me. That's the easiest way to reach me at ivorytowerboilerroom@gmail.com. That's easy to remember. And 'tis the season for college admission essays, both undergraduate and graduate, thesis writing, dissertation writing. Do you want to create a podcast and you don't know where to begin? Media work, how to open a TikTok, how to start creating videos on TikTok, what to do with your Instagram. All of that I have done. So just reach out to me. Also, I'm really excited to announce that the December book club choice is Britney Spears' The Woman in Me memoir. So to join the book club, head to ivorytowerboilerroom.com and go to events, and you're going to see a form there. Just so I know how many of you are joining the book club, and that way I can reach out to each of your email addresses and poll all of you to see what date at the end of December works. It's going to be the week after Christmas, so don't worry. It's not going to be the week of Christmas. That would be hectic. And then I'll let you all know how to join the book club, which happens on Patreon. You just join under the ITBR book club section. So can't wait to see who wants to discuss Britney Spears. We have a lot to dissect there. And also, if you want to join the Wicked Broadway musical group event, which is happening in March, head to that events section on the website and fill out that Google form by December 1st. So much happening here in the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, and I love this community. I love being the host and director of this arts and culture organization. Thank you all for supporting me. It means so much. And please spread the word for my consultation services, for the podcast, the book club, the Broadway musical, group event, all the things. And without further ado, here's today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ITBR Rewatches Queer as Folk. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and I am so excited to be joined by Kevin KGZ, Kevin Gadzalinski.
Yay!
I'll say his last name, and he is an actor, model, singer, cosplayer, currently in Torch Song. In Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Yeah,
So also has a charmed podcast called Words of the Witches.
right.
So Kevin, it's so nice for you to be my guest co-host for this episode 5 that we have.
Yes, thank you for asking me to join you. Yeah, it's a whole new journey.
Yeah, well, what's so funny is every time I say the episode number, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if that's not the episode that the guest watches? I
I
feel like it's gonna
know.
happen one of these days.
And you're like, well, okay.
I'll be like, oh, episode 12? No, just kidding. But that's why it's always good that we go back and forth with each other. So
Sure.
I just wanted to ask you first, when did you know about Queer as Folk, the 2000 show?
Oh, okay. So, when it came on in 2000, I was in seventh grade. So I'm a little bit older than you, but not like crazy older. So I
How
was in
old are
seventh
you?
grade. I
Tell
turned
us.
36 at the end of the month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're a
So
little older.
yeah, yeah, not crazy, but I got the
Yeah.
gray hairs. When I do have a beard, when I'm not shaved for to be play a drag queen, I have grays in my beard.
So you're in 7th grade. Okay.
Yes. So I remember it kind of being out, but it was not really on my radar, and I didn't have cable or Showtime or anything like that, so I didn't really watch it. I just kind of knew it was a thing. Um, and I think maybe like 8 years ago, close to 10 years ago, I started watching it, and then
Mm.
I never finished it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I don't know much about this show actually, but I know it's funny because we watched this episode. I'm like, I think I saw this episode before. So I know I watched a handful of them like close to 10 years ago, and then I stopped at one point and never finished. So I don't know where the last episode I watched was, but this one I know I've seen at least twice now.
And I feel like you're Midwestern. So you were born and raised in Wisconsin, is that right?
Yeah, Milwaukee my whole life. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like your Midwestern ethics kind of matches with this Pittsburgh vibe that starts to be built on in this episode. Like I've said before with other guests, I don't really understand the Pittsburgh connection, but this episode, for some reason, I really feel like the industrial queer culture comes to a head with Michael's storyline, and like the grocery store becomes this
Yeah.
really important character. So just to remind everyone, last episode 4, was called Ted's Not Dead. And Ted was in a drug-induced coma. Justin's mother found out about her son's sexuality. Ted wakes up from the coma as Brian is fucking some nurse in the hospital room, as Brian does. So then episode 5 is called Now Approaching the Line. I guess we'll have to get into what the line is. And then it was premiered on January 7, 2001. And it was directed by Carrie Skogland and written by Jonathan Tollins. And our description, Kevin, is Michael's new chiropractor. Oh, sorry. No. It was written by Jason Schaefer. I was looking at the next episode,
Oh, okay.
getting ahead of myself. I was like, no, that's not,
Jumping the
that
gun.
didn't happen yet with the chiropractor boyfriend. Um, Michael fends off the romantic interest of a female coworker who doesn't know he's gay, Tracy, and instead dates a handsome chiropractor, while Brian is propositioned by a potentially lucrative client of his firm. Meanwhile, Justin struggles to repair his fractured relationship with his mother, Jennifer. So, um, I feel like right away we get into Brian with this Italian man in his bed, and he's like doesn't know who the guy is who he fell asleep with. And I'm just curious, like, do you think that that's a good trait to have like a one night stand and then they fall asleep in your bed and then you wake up and have no idea who they are?
That's horrible. That's like, oh my god. I can't imagine. I'm like, hello. um Like, how drugged up were you?
And it's
Because
such an intimate, but that's what I don't
yeah,
get is like, in my opinion, like falling asleep with someone. I mean, I have a new boyfriend, new, but I've known him a long time,
yeah,
11 years, to be exact. But like when I fall asleep with him, it's so beautiful and there's something so romantic. But I really like before my boyfriend, I didn't enjoy spending the night with like a one night stand
right.
or even a friend with benefits. It's just so intimate. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm like, I guess Brian, like you said, he's either so drugged out or he just doesn't care. But
Right.
I would think in his psyche, he really wouldn't want that kind of intimacy with a guy.
Right. Because I know, like, with you one night stands, it's typically like you can regret it, you can be ashamed of it, but to actually like forget who the person was or forget that you even had a person is very bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then he gets interrupted by Lindsay and the baby. Um, but it is funny. Like, I do find it so interesting how once like Gus, his son, comes into the picture or Lindsay's there, he becomes very protective. Like he kicks that guy out right away. So like
He's
is
like all about the
Brian,
baby too. He's like,
yeah,
why you play with my baby? Like,
I know, right?
sorry.
So like the hookup guy is starting to make these goo goo gaga noises and is becoming really um a nurturer, and Brian
Right.
is really angry and despises the actions. It's yeah, you're right. It's almost as if Gus is his possession. Like instead of a
Mm-hmm.
baby, he's become territorial of the
Yeah.
baby.
Don't be a better father than me. How dare you?
Yeah, I know. And then he like grabs the baby and starts cuddling with it.
Yeah.
But do you think Brian, this is the thing, like in the beginning, I feel like this episode we really start to question Brian's intentions with everyone around him,
Hmm.
um like how ethical he is. Do you think like he actually is invested in his son?
I mean, there's part that maybe there's like a connection that he's trying to deny a little bit, there because there's definitely some kind of want to be there, but he doesn't want people to know that he wants to be there. So
Mm,
something like that.
yeah. And um then we get thrown to Justin and his mom in therapy. Um which I thought was a really interesting scene. I actually liked it a lot. Like, what do you think of Jennifer? Like your first impressions, especially since you haven't seen the show in its entirety. What do
Right.
you think of how Justin's mom is reacting to finding out that he's gay?
I mean, I think it is pretty typical of a lot of moms, especially like early on. And, like, times have changed a lot, but I think there are people that were raised a certain way, and there's moms that act maybe not the best way because they are afraid of how the dangers that could await their children. So there's
Mhm.
that. Um, yeah, I still think like she's like, how could you know you're only 18? I'm like, okay, well, if you're 18, you know things like that. It's like not
Yeah.
it's not like he's like 10.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. I think it's 17, but
or
still,
17.
17
Sorry.
is also
Still,
the
still.
of age. Like you
Yeah,
are mostly of age, making
right.
your own decisions at 17.
Yeah.
But well, how old were you when you came out, Kevin?
Well, I never had like a real official coming out at all. I just kind of lived my life, and people asked me. I was like, "Yeah, this is what I am." So it was very casual. But I guess I first admitted it to myself probably around like 22, and then I made like
Okay.
I made a shit bisexual guys say video because that was big at the time, and that was like my official like way of telling the world, I suppose. But
Wait,
then I got
what was it
busted.
called?
Shit bisexual guys say. Do you remember the whole like trend of like shit people say videos? I did one about bisexual guys, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah. So do you feel that being this is a great opening because, you identify as bisexual, and
Hmm.
I think that do you feel connected to these men in Queer as Folk because um I don't think any of them yet identify as bisexual. Like they all identify as gay. Do you
Right.
find that it's like a similar um vibe of like how the group communicates with each other, or do you feel like it is a really gay male experience with like Babylon, the nightclub, like how they're talking about men. Like, is there an opening for a bi man to join their group even?
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Because I mean that definitely there's definitely some shared experiences there, but there's also maybe parts of a bisexual's experience that would be odd or not welcome in a setting like that. So I guess you almost have to figure out what you want to talk about and maybe leave certain things out. And just me, because like I remember like when I was figuring my life out, figuring out who I was, I didn't really fit into straight groups or gay groups. I felt very kind of like somewhere on the outside. Like I don't know how, I wasn't sure how to respond or how to like merge into this. So yeah, I just kind of I guess the key is finding the similarities when you can.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and I'm so excited to be talking about Broadview Press. You might be asking, what is Broadview Press, Andrew? Broadview is an independent academic publisher in the humanities that produces high quality, pedagogically useful books for use in university and college classrooms. They publish in the humanities mainly English studies, writing, philosophy, and history, just to name a few genres. And recently, I had on Dr. Jason Holt, who wrote all about the philosophy of sport. And what better summer episode than to talk about what happens when a philosopher dissects the beautiful aesthetics of sporting culture? In the spring, I had on doctors Kyle Stedman and Tanya Rodriguez to talk about what is sound writing, how to make audio projects in the college classroom, how to even have your students create podcasts. And then in the winter, I had on Dr. Jeffrey Weinstock. He talked about analyzing pop culture. Yes, I even sneak in some Real Housewives questions and how to teach composition and make it fun. He uses this whole metaphor about being a mad scientist in this gothic lab. And in the fall, I had on Dr. Ann Stevens, and she talked about literary theory and criticism. And yes, the university season is upon us. So, what better way to talk about the college classroom than to actually understand what is literary theory? That's a wonderful episode for all of you out there who teach literary studies. I love Broadview Press. Make sure you use their exclusive code. It's Ivory Tower on broadviewpress.com. You get 20% off all, all Broadview Press publications. Okay, until the next Broadview Press interview. And now back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. LGBT stories are universal, but each one speaks to the individual heart and soul of the writer telling it. Do you have a story to tell? Or have you been moved by an LGBT book, film, painting, television show, or other form of media? Then the Gay and Lesbian Review wants to hear from you. The GNLR believes in bringing awareness to queer art and artists through reviews, commentary, and thought pieces in which the author relates their personal lives to a particular piece of art, a novel, a movie. In addition to the print magazine, the GNLR also publishes articles on its blog. So you can see all of this on glreview.org. That's glreview.org. Remember, you get 50% off your subscription of the GL Review magazine when you use the promo code ITBR50. That's 50% off your print or digital subscription when you use promo code ITBR50. To learn more about submitting an article for the GNLR, visit their writer's guidelines. The link is located at the bottom of their homepage. And if you have any questions, email Stephen Hemrick. That's STEPHEN dot HEMRICK at glreview.org. The GNLR and its readers can't wait to see what you have to say. Yeah. And like when you said that you never had an official coming out, do you feel that that's tied to your bisexual identity, or it's not even about that? It's just like whenever you enter a room, you're always who you are. And like you're honest about whether you're dating a man, dating a woman. Like you're not going to hold back
Right.
aspects of yourself.
At that point, at this point in my life, and when I was finally accepting myself as bisexual, I was like, yeah, whatever I do is fine. But even before I came out, I definitely had feelings. I had lots of frustrations and going around in circles in my brain, like, what do I like? I'm attracted to this person, and it was mostly me trying to like justify it. And I did worry about what people would say, or like maybe this is just like part of puberty. Maybe this is where these feelings come from. Like, I can't imagine dating a guy, I can't imagine kissing a guy, but I'd like to try things with them. So it was all like sorting those things. And then my dad also came out as gay when I was in high school,
Oh wow. Okay.
and I was angered by that, because it's like, well, now I can't even come out, because now I'm gonna be linked to you. People are gonna relate me to you, and I'm like, I want to be my own person and stuff. So that was a whole other element that kind of threw a hammer and nail in there. So
Oh wow. No, I'll have to get into that because
yeah,
we have that closeted client that Brian is
yeah.
starting to um you know try to get under the company's thumb, and then he tries to seduce the client, and then all of
Yeah,
this
right.
uh shit gets aired out when he's in the hotel room. So definitely, you know not that you have to
Okay,
open up too much about your father, but I do think like that's an interesting lens.
definitely.
So okay, we're back in therapy, and then Justin, like you said, when you're 17 you do know who you are, but the mother is really, she
Trying to
knows,
grasp it. Yeah.
yeah, like she knows that her son is gay, but like is still trying to process it. But I never feel that she's homophobic.
No.
It's her
Yeah.
confusion of like trying to see her son in a new identity and like try to support him, questioning what's going on
Yeah.
and
It's
coming
very
to
innocent.
terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so how about when Justin says that he loves sucking dick, and he like opens up about how much he enjoys having sex and blowjobs and all of this shock value. Like,
Right.
what is he doing to his mom here?
I don't it did seem to come out of nowhere. I remember the therapist just like, well then, oh, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a form of rebellion. Maybe it's just like, this is what I am, get used to it. Reality check. Like, there's no dancing around. Like, I don't know. Or maybe he's just kind of, he's got a new sexual awakening. He likes being a little slut now. It's fine.
Yeah, I feel that he's always trying to push the boundaries with his
Hmm.
mom, but um I can also understand and relate to that because when I came out, I was a freshman in high school, and um like my mom had and dad had a similar mindset as Justin's mom of
Okay.
like accepting, like loving and accepting and never wanting to distance themselves, but they were just trying to understand, trying to protect me. And then I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I can handle all this. Like I want to start going on dates. I want to like experience things sexually. And I'd be like, throwing things out to my parents. Like, well, maybe I'm going to be making out with a guy this weekend. Like, just,
To see how
trying
much they can
to up the
handle. Yeah.
ante. Yeah. And, keep moving the goalpost for,
Hmm.
and a lot of it was for shock. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but did you feel that way in high school that you were like ever trying to shock your parents? Or was it more like your friend group who, I mean, you said you really didn't like in your own mind see yourself as bisexual until 22. So like in high school, like what was Kevin's sexual
Yeah.
uh prowess or sexual viewpoint in high school?
High school is a crazy time. Okay. So we have to go back a little bit. I had like some sexual experience is as a child. I remember, like, just like little things like preschool, people pull down my pants and kiss my butt, and like I'm like, oh, and I didn't know what that meant, but I was getting like tingles. And then um like when I was 5, there was a girl that we were just like looking and touching each other, and then when I was 12, I penetrated a girl. But I didn't know what I was doing. It was just like I stood there. I'm like, okay, now what? I didn't know what I was doing. So that was my things. And then I guess junior high is to like really start to think about guys more. So I knew that I had feelings like that. And I had a friend who we would give each other massages, we would wrestle, we'd both get hard when we wrestled, things like that. We've had like naked massages and like jerk offs and stuff. So I've had like little things along the way that kind of informed what I ended up becoming. um, so in high school though, I was completely to myself. I didn't have sex with anybody. I didn't date anybody. I was just like, I'm a student at school. I sing in choir. I do theater. I come home. So I didn't really do anything. And yeah, and like I remember I listened to one of your other episodes where like you like gym class, we didn't showering wasn't a thing for us. You know, it was I think they had the showers and they're like not clean and just never worked. And so
Yeah, they
we
were
just
just
kept going.
scenery.
Yeah.
Like no one ever in our generation used showers
No.
at gym class. But yeah, and I think like even what's happening with Justin, I mean, um, right, to up the ante for the show, we're getting him going to the club. And like I really didn't go to a gay club until I was 18 or 19, and it was like under 21 night at in
Okay.
Philadelphia.
I was wondering how could he even get in there? I was so confused how he got in there.
I
But yeah, you're
know.
right. If they had
Well, he had a
special
fake
nights.
ID, I think, in the
Oh,
earlier
okay. That's right.
episodes.
I missed those.
Um,
Okay.
but uh yeah, like when I went, like there was no alcohol and everyone was just dancing. But like that was a truly awakening moment for me to be with so many queer people. But
Mm,
we did have a huge gay straight alliance in my high school. So like that's where I started to like find a community.
sure.
That's where there was a lot of talk about who was like going with who to the park in the town, or like who was going to go out to like friendlies together. It was such a small group of queer people, and even like there were more queer women in the group than queer men. So like then like the out gay men was like maybe out of 730 in my high school class, there were 4 of us. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it
Right.
was like,
Slim
I mean
pickings.
now
Yeah.
there's like 100 who are out
Yeah.
um as queer from my high school class. But yeah, I'm sure like your experience, how many were actually like did you have a gay straight alliance? Were there a lot who were out as queer?
You know, it's funny. I don't even remember a gay organization in my school whatsoever. And when I got to college, there was, but in my high school, I don't think there was at all. I was in a private school though too, so that might have something to do with it. So maybe they didn't approve that stuff. I don't know. I mean, like in my religion classes, they seemed very accepting and understanding of other sexualities, but it wasn't ever like a big thing in high school, which is very strange now that I think
Yeah.
about it.
So is Milwaukee just because like I know the bare minimum, like I know the
Yeah.
colleges and things like that. And I know like Wisconsin Madison for its humanities and programs, but is Milwaukee like similar in this setup of imagining like a gayborhood? Does Milwaukee have a gayborhood?
We have like downtown, and there's like the gay bars like Water Street. They're all kind of in that same area, so I suppose so. It's not as big as the Chicago one. We don't have like rainbow streets or anything like that, but there we do have the areas, and we have the communities here. uh yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's Chicago. Is it Boys Town?
Boys
Is
Town,
the
yeah.
area? Okay. Yeah, yeah. And I feel like that's probably similar to Philly. We have a gayborhood. I mean, now I'm on Long Island, so like New York City, we have a lot of options in all neighborhoods. But
My mom's from Long Island. Yeah.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Always a Long Island connection.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Do you ever go back to Long Island?
I've never been there.
Oh,
I've only been to New York actually once for a day to meet Alyssa Milano. I need to go
Oh
back and like
wow.
really experience it. I have lots of photo shoots I have to do because my lots of photographers down there that want to shoot with me. So that's on the agenda. And seeing a Broadway show would be amazing because I never done that before either.
Okay, well, you have to let me know, Kevin, because I will
Okay.
take you to a Broadway show. There's Monty Python's Holy Grail is coming
I'll
back.
spam a
We
lot. Very
have,
nice.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Spamalot. We have The Wiz. I'm organizing a group to see Wicked in March. So, yeah,
Okay.
you need to come to New York City, and then I'll have to
Yeah.
go to Chicago. I've
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
been to Chicago.
Oh wow.
Okay,
Okay.
I know,
Okay.
I know.
We'll
I'm
make a
such a
whole event.
Northeast. I'm like a West Coast and an East Coast, and have not done a lot in the middle. But
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So I will do it. I'll take one for the team. Okay. I'm sure it's very fun. I hear great things about
Yeah.
Chicago. But okay. So then we're brought into Brian's corporate world, where they are very accepting of him being gay. I mean, I always find that it's just so interesting how in his like PR position or marketing position, they all are
Yeah.
well aware that he's going to try to seduce like the men who
He's
are
completely
clients.
unapologetic about it. He's like, I
Yeah.
own it. Like these bitches are gonna do nothing to me. That's so great.
And that's what I love about Brian's energy is he's so
Yeah.
empowering. Like,
Right.
even though people like to put him down as not having feelings, I do think he is has a lot of emotional intelligence.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
he's very good at reading scenes around him.
Hmm.
Um, and I also love the actor, Gail Harold. But I think his acting is one of the best moments in the show. Um, and Justin. I like Randy Harrison. Okay. So he's like pitching to this client. He's like, "Oh, I can get these 18 to 34 the male demographic for race car drivers or right? Was it something about
Yeah, something like
NASCAR? I
that.
was
Like
trying
what?
Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, race car drivers in Altoona, Pennsylvania."
At 18 to 34, I'm like, I'm past that. How weird. I'm not in your demographic anymore. Like, thanks.
I know. Well, remember, 31 is like my age is over the hill and you're
Right.
basically in the
Sure.
grave for them.
Right.
Uh, but okay, so what did you think of this whole way Brian is interpreting this client? Like he calls him a breeder to his friends. Like he sees him in this really almost backwards
Right.
machismo type culture of the rural countryside where he thinks this guy is from. So like, why is Brian setting the scene like this for us?
I think he's just taking because based off his looks, he's taking his looks and demeanor and making the assumptions, which, I get that. If I see somebody, everyone does it. They see someone, they try to figure out who they are based off the impressions, based on what they're noticing, which isn't always true. But it's also the vibe that maybe he wants to give off too within his this corporate world. So it makes sense. That's what he's picking up.
Yeah. And like, do you feel that like you get read a certain way and people get surprised when they start to learn about who you are?
Yeah, and it goes. It depends on my mood because different parts of me come out all the time. So sometimes people think I'm straight. Some people automatically think I'm gay all the time, and they don't know. And maybe it depends on where they see me, depending on what situation they see me in, and the environment could also affect that too. Um, yeah, but I think I just shock people a lot when they learn I do certain things.
Like, do you shock men more or women more?
um, I guess I have more interactions with men. Most of the women I feel like the women are more intuitive actually. They pick it up a lot easier.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and I'm also assuming like you being in Torch Song, like in the theater world, queerness is just more, and with
common.
men too,
Yeah,
it's more like thought of that men in theater, there's more of a chance that you're
sure.
probably queer or gay or bi. I would say like gay is how like people like to read
Yeah,
men in theater. But
especially
again,
musical theater. Yeah.
yes. But then like when you have straight men in theater, which there's a lot of them,
Hmm.
it's almost shocking to people. Almost like male hairdressers.
Exactly. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
do there's quite a few straight guys in the Milwaukee theater community and it's there's lots of different varieties. So
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like they become so open to allyship or
exactly, definitely.
understanding queer culture. Like
Yeah,
they're in the
if you're in
know.
theater, you're gonna have gay friends. If you're in theater, it's just a given.
Yeah. I mean, I say to all my straight guy friends, they should be so lucky to have gay men in their lives. Like they need the
Hmm.
gay men. We need each other to inform one another. Hi, this is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and I'm so excited to shout out the Gay and Lesbian Review, who is helping to sponsor the ITBR podcast. For all of you out there, the Gay and Lesbian Review is a bi monthly magazine where you can discover new things about gay and lesbian literature, history, and culture. And the GL Review publishes essays in a wide range of disciplines, as well as a slew of reviews of books, plays, and movies, and a number of special features, such as artist profiles and their popular art memo column. Each issue of the magazine brings you consistently intelligent, lively, thought provoking articles focused on a unifying theme. For example, their September October issue centers on the theme Cracking the Closet. So, starting in the 19th century, a number of artists and writers found ways to crack the closet by expressing their sexuality between the lines or in the interstices of their work. For example, Ignacio Darnad, who is a friend of the ITBR podcast, he's been on our show, writes all about illustrator J.C. Leyendecker, whose work for Ivory Soap and Arrow Collars gave him plenty of opportunities to draw pictures of well-dressed and at times scantily dressed American men. And you also can find an article by Vernon Rosario, who has been on the podcast, and he talks about the quest for sex in the Middle Ages. So, to subscribe, visit glreview.org. That's glreview.org. Click subscribe. So on their website, go all the way over to the right-hand side and you'll see the button subscribe. Click subscribe and enter the promo code ITBR50 because you're getting 50% off your subscription to the print or digital edition of the Gay and Lesbian Review magazine. I can't wait for you all to have your copy of the Gay and Lesbian Review magazine, and make sure that you take a picture when your magazine arrives or when you're reading it online and tag the GL Review on Instagram and ITBR, and we'll share it out in our stories. Enjoy your reading, everyone. I am here with the co-owner of one of my favorite stores here in Port Jefferson Village, New York. It is called The Soapbox. So Janine said, Andrew, I have these 4 products you need to get your hands on. It's called 4 for Fall. So she's going to go over these 4 products. I know first you have a soap for me. What is the soap?
I have the soap for you. It is called Apple Cider Shea Butter Soap. It's by a company called Greenwich Bay. And this is a great soap because you can use it for your hands or your body. And it has a delicious apple cider scent. And I think you're actually already familiar with it.
Yes, it is
Tried
in
it.
my shower. I still have it. It lasts a very long
Yeah,
time.
great lather.
The lather's wonderful. It's just so luxurious, and I love the scent into November.
Yes.
You know, this
It
apple
carries.
cider just it evokes so many cozy feelings. After the soap, we have something that you can add on to
Yes.
in the shower. So what is this?
This is a wonderful, wonderful exfoliating shower scrub. It is by a company called Primal Almonds, and it's a sugar whip shower scrub. And the scent is pumpkin spice. It's a moisturizing sugar scrub. So it's tiny little sugar granules. And it's something that you would use after you shower twice a week because you don't want to strip your skin of your natural oils and your moisture. But it's wonderful. It just really exfoliates all that dead skin and leaves your skin very smooth and soft from all the sugar.
So after I use the exfoliant, right now we need to moisturize. So
Yes.
I know you have a really nice fall body lotion for us.
Absolutely. This is just such a delicious scent. This is one of my favorites for fall. The scent is Orchard Breeze, and it's by a company called Michelle Design Works. This is another product that you can use hand and body. It's great. You can place it on your vanity, just a couple of pumps for your hands, or use it on your entire body. But it's shea butter based, so it's extremely moisturizing. It's just wonderful, and the scent is just lovely.
We need something more deep for our face. Everyone wants face masks, and I know that you absolutely love this company and this brand.
This is one of my favorite masks by one of my favorite companies that we carry and we support. The company is called Farmhouse Fresh, and they're right out of Texas. The mask is called Splendid Dirt, and it's a nutrient-rich mud mask. It consists of pumpkin puree, and the benefits of this mask, it's a pore minimizer, a radiance booster, and a skin degunker. So it's an all-around great mask. If you really want a boost of radiance, it brightens your skin and it really cleanses your pores.
If they live on Long Island or near Long Island, what is your address for them to come into the store?
We're located at 18 Chandler Square in Port Jefferson, New York, right in the Village. And if you can't make it, you have to come in because we just have so much fun stuff in here, so many wonderful products. But if you can't make it in, please give us a call. We're more than happy to ship any of these wonderful products to you. Call us at 631-509-1424. You could always reach us on Instagram at The Soapbox NY, or you could always check us out on our website, Soapbox NY. And
Yeah, there's
I
so
think
many
that's
ways to
about it.
access your
So many
products.
ways to reach us.
And Janine is more than happy, and Mariana, the
Oh,
other
it's
co-owner,
my mom, actually.
yes,
Yes, my
are
mother.
so willing to take your orders
Yes.
via phone, via Instagram, and I can't wait for everyone else to enjoy these luxurious products. Okay, so what I like is this next moment where Michael is in the store. I forgot the store's name, but he's the manager of it. And Tracy and Mike have this moment where Mike pretends that he's going to be Laser Man, and I thought this connected to you. I was like, this is a Kevin moment because
Yeah.
I forgot Michael is so obsessed with comic book characters that like he always creates these fantasies that he's one of the like Marvel
Yeah.
characters or he's a
Right.
superhero. So like because of all your cosplay, like did you relate to this comic book frenzy happening?
Absolutely. Like it's the dorky, like nerdy, awkward person. And no matter your sexuality, if you're a nerd like this is I found it super sexy. I don't know. Because that's my kind of personality. Like it's super endearing. Like, yeah, let's go off of this. Let's tell me more about this laser man. Like
Yeah. Well, and how did you get into, because for everyone out there, Kevin, your Instagram, can you say your handle right now?
yeah, KGZ87. That's KJEEZY87. Yeah.
Okay. And I see it's your Zoom name. So
Yeah.
how did you get into cosplay? Like what was the entry point for you?
Um, Part of it started with because I liked acting and I did theater and I like playing characters. But I wanted to do something more fanciful, you know. So like in Spider-Man, the movies came out in the early 2000s. I was like, I could probably pull off a Spider-Man suit. This is before everybody had Spider-Man suits. And I got one and I just walked around the Salvation Army and I felt super cool in it. And I started going to conventions. I tried a local convention, Anime Milwaukee, and I did a Dragon Ball Z character, and it just started small. It was just like a button-down pink shirt with some yellow pants, and I put Badman on it because I did Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. And I really kind of enjoyed like dressing up and being a character and nerding out. And then my skill and my funding got bigger. I devoted more to it. So yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that, I mean, I feel like you're so connected now in the Comic Con or even cosplay world that there does seem to be a real, again, I don't want to say everyone who does cosplay is into kinky like sex, because that's not true. But there
Right.
does seem to be like an intersection where there is a turn on with being certain characters, like that fantasy or that dress up. It's like why we love Halloween. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
being the sexy devil. Like, I mean, I was the Jersey Shore devil, but like with a sexy twist. And I think that we do enjoy that sensual side of costuming. So, like, right, Spider-Man is really revealing. Like, a lot of these male comic book characters have costumes where their bulges are out. Like,
Right.
so I wonder, how do you make sense of that? Like, why do you think some of these costumes that you wear are really sensual with male sexuality?
I think too, like a lot of these superheroes, I'm focusing on the superhero part of it, but any character in media too, a lot of them are very well built, and they have really revealing costumes just built into the shows and built into the comic books themselves. And so having the opportunity to embody that, and like there is definitely something sexy about it. Like, I like being able to show off my body in creative, nerdy, fun ways, colorful ways. And so that's kind of cool. And like on my OnlyFans and stuff, I do like cosplay sex type stuff. But I'm also very careful because it's mostly just me by myself for those, because these cosplays are super expensive and I'm going to be very protective of them. So like, I'm not going to get too into it with them. I have to be very like, okay, this is good enough. Now let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily have a superhero fetish or any kind of cosplay fetish, but I do like mixing the nerdy and the sexy and really kind of playing with that. And because I know, like, like if you're like a kid and you like these things, and then you grow up, you're like, oh, I love this thing as a kid, but now I like seeing the sexy version of it, and it's just kind of really, I don't know, exciting.
Yeah. Well, and like I'm so glad you're open about your OnlyFans, because
Oh
like
yeah,
you've helped guide me as I've begun my OnlyFans. And
yeah.
then like I've learned all these things about, even if there's another hand in the photo, then you have to tag them. And then if they don't want to be tagged, then they take that down. And I'm
And
like,
that's real recent. It wasn't like that when I started. That's
yeah,
real recent.
like they won't allow you even to have like a video in the background playing, because they're like, what kind of media is this?
Yeah, it's really insane now.
Because I was like, oh, I can
It
like
makes it
be
makes it
watching
hard.
Queer as Folk as I'm like, you know, in my birthday suit. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, you can't do that, Andrew. But found like I can play the podcast in the background and kind of act it out. So there's workarounds. But I just wanted to ask you while you're here, like, what is it about OnlyFans that draws you? Or, what are you learning from that process with your fans?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of an exhibitionist. Like, I get turned on by people being turned on by me. I don't know. That's part of my thing. And I used to have a Tumblr back in the day, and I would just post like all the naked stuff on my Tumblr and like, hey, this is super exciting, and I would get lots of really good feedback. But then um that's also when people would steal the pictures and post them other places or make fake profiles. I'm like, well, this is really frustrating. Like every week I was getting another notice of a fake profile or someone being catfished by a fake me. And I'm like, that's annoying. So I'm like, that's when I decided to do the OnlyFans, because I'm like, if people are gonna steal my pictures, I might as well get paid for it first.
That's
And
true.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And so then I just beginning getting more and more involved with it and really just enjoying myself. Uh and people do requests. The thing is, I don't do OnlyFans full time. If I did, I'd have a lot more time to devote to it and fulfill everybody's requests. I have to kind of take them little by little. um, and so because I do my podcasting and I have a full-time job besides, it's really like hit and miss. But I do try to keep up with it, and I try to read every message and respond to all the comments and stuff. So I need to do lives. I think I need to start doing live videos there, because that will help engage.
Yeah, yeah. I started doing lives, but I have to like build up towards that audience. But I don't know. Kevin, maybe eventually we'll have to collab on OnlyFans.
You never know. Yeah.
We could actually tag each other.
Exactly. Yeah, we're official. We're not gonna get,
Yeah,
whatever
I'll share
ding.
this out on a social media clip. Who wants to see Kevin and Dr. Andrew Imby on an OnlyFans? Collab. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think I still do have my Robin costume. So if you have a
See?
Batman costume,
You know?
we're in.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the show. Let's see. You never know what's going to come up here, but I thought that was a good
Sure.
opportunity since we have Michael's comic
Yeah.
fascination. Okay, so do you think Michael's being cruel here with Tracy, like playing up the flirtation? How do you weigh in on what Michael's doing to this employee?
See, I didn't see it as much as a flirty thing, as more just like an awkward nerdy thing.
Mm,
Because it was his coping mechanism, because he kind of felt that she was flirting with him, and he's like, how do I adapt to this? How do I make light of this? Let me just, maybe I'll make this a joke fun thing. And that was more about what it was. Uh and maybe she thought about it as flirty. Maybe she took it the wrong way because she was already in that mindset. But I think it was more just him just trying to figure out how to process it.
oh, that's a great point. Yeah, yeah. Because he is like he's not completely introverted, but like he definitely like you said, has coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his nerdy side is really on full display, even when
Yeah.
we get to his date. So
Hmm.
okay. Let's see. What was I oh, I did find it interesting that we learned that Brian's parents didn't know that he's gay.
Yeah.
Um, like that kind of surprised me. So like I think it shows us about how close Brian is to his family, which is not at all, since we haven't seen any of his family.
Right. But then it also kind of goes into like my situation where like I never came out. I never said, "Hey everybody, this is what I am." I just live my life, and if they ask, they ask. Because that's what happened with my mom. She just one day she's like, "What are you anyway?" And that's when I told her, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess I'm bisexual." She's like, "Oh, okay." And that because she's noticed that I brought girls home. She noticed that I was kind of having guy things around. So she was very, just curious, and it was very casual.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So like now, do you have a very like free flowing conversation with your family, or
you know,
like only when they actually approach you about it?
yeah, I mean, I don't I don't talk about it really directly with them. Even my dad, like, because my dad's gay, and it's so awkward to talk to him. I don't know if just this kind of relationship we have, but I don't want to talk to him about that kind of type of stuff. um, so yeah, it's mostly just me talking. I talk to friends very casually more than my family, I think.
Yeah. So like how did you process, we'll just jump to it, which is you know, later in the episode, but we get Marvin, that client that Brian
Yeah,
is trying to please. When Brian finds out that Marvin is actually into guys, but then he also has a family, and um like in the hotel room, like Marvin is about to give Brian a blowjob, but then like there's a phone call that Marvin's daughter got injured, like her arm is broken, and Brian's like, "Well, you better go back to see your daughter." Like, and like
yeah.
calls the hotel and says like, "Get his bill ready." Like, so is that Brian? Did you see it as him punishing Marvin for like living another life, like having a closeted life, or um what was
Yeah.
your
It
interpretation of that whole scene?
it was all very different. Like it could be interpreted in so many different ways. I I see part of me feels like it's this parental thing too. Is like your kid needs you. She was asking for you. This is very rude to just like brush it off and not care about your daughter. I don't know if it's more uh getting back at the closeted part, but more about getting back at the fact that he's brushing off his family when they need him the most. Um
Yeah.
and that maybe it's that hidden parental vibe that he's getting with his kid, and he wants to encourage that with other people.
And he even does that with Justin. Like, even though he's so
Yeah,
annoyed that
right.
Justin bursts in when he's about to hook up with this guy. Um, like
He's
when
still
the
all
guy
about
says,
him.
"Well,
Yeah.
the guy's like, who is this kid?" Like, get lost, he says to Justin. Then, like, you're right. Once Brian sees that someone is being bullied or like put down, he like throws
Yeah,
out that person who is disrespectful.
it gets into mama
And
bird
yeah,
mode.
yeah. And he's so protective of Justin.
Yeah,
Like, even though you
yeah,
can tell he really doesn't want to start dating Justin, he's like, knows that he needs to take him under his wing.
yeah. This is a baby gay in need of guidance.
Yeah. Do you think though, Brian? I mean, it definitely the breadcrumbs are there for us, but do you think Brian at this point really wants to start like having a long-term connection to Justin?
I don't know about. I don't know. I think he's more about in the production mode. It's like this is the moment. I don't know if he wants to like stay involved or stay friendly with him, but in this moment, he knows that it's a very pivotal point in his life. He's just in this moment with his mom, and he's trying to find out where he fits in this gay world. And yeah, it's kind of in this moment in time, I think.
Yeah. Well, and then at that same time, we have Melanie and Lindsay, which I love their relationship. Which sadly will not be utopic for long. Just
Oh,
spoiler alert, everyone. Things are going to get really rough with them. But I do like, though, when they talk about that they have an alternative family with like two mommies, but like Melanie is so annoyed that Brian keeps inserting himself, but then Lindsay reminds her that no, he is the biological father, so he should have a place in our relationship with Gus. So like there's a lot of tension between all of like the three of them. But do you think that this is a really ahead of the curve, like in 2001, that we actually have like two moms with a son being shown in a television series?
Yeah, that is pretty groundbreaking at that time. I think it's great. I mean, but that's why it's on Showtime, right? This is like not the mainstream. This is like the specialty people. So I guess they have
Yeah.
that kind of buffer. But yeah, it's still very exciting and it's great to see.
Yeah, and I think that Kevin, does this shed any light on if you want to become a father eventually?
Oh my gosh, I don't
Oh, I'm
know.
going for all the questions. I have no filter.
It's funny because when I was younger, when I was a kid, I had my whole like things like, oh, by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna be a father. It's gonna be great. And now at the point with like, I don't know if I could. Like, I know I'd be a very loving and a compassionate father, but I don't know if I could be a disciplinarian, and that's what scares me. I feel like my children would run amok, and I would not know how to control them. So, and then like based on my lifestyle, I do a lot of traveling, I do a lot of things. It would be very hard for me to have a kid in like envisioning a kid right now. But I do get asked all the time if I'm a dad. I'm like, oh, I have a nephew. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like for me, having a child is all about like first having a husband that I really see
Yeah,
that having a child is going to really
sure.
um like I don't want to say increase the connection, but like allow for us to bring someone else into this world and raise a family together. So I
It's a
I
new shared
first need a
experience together, right?
yeah, but like I need a solid husband before I have a child. Like I can't
Yeah,
just have a child by myself. Like
no,
that's um
awful.
way too
It sounds great.
difficult.
Yeah, it sounds very hard.
Yeah, and very expensive.
Yes.
So, okay. Um I think that we're going to jump to the chiropractor. So what do you think about Michael and his moaning and verbal outbursts in his first chiropractor exam? Like, was this on the verge of starting as an X video, like a gay porn film with the chiropractor on top of him? Or is this like actually true to reality?
A little bit of both, I think. I mean, I never had a chiropractor, but I definitely need one. I have so much tension in my shoulders. I have a lot of cracks in my lower back. I could really use one. And I think too, if you are really tense and if you're really in need of an alignment, moans like that are bound to happen. It's just you're feeling better, you're feeling good. And yeah, maybe you'll be a little aroused. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there is some truth to that. The fact that this is like, I don't know if I don't know how it all works. I don't know if they actually like lay on top of you like that. Maybe they do. um,
Yeah. I'd have to look that up because I don't know.
yeah,
I've never like seen a chiropractor. Maybe, yeah, I guess if they have to
yeah,
get into a certain muscle group, they would lay on top of you. But like
right.
I get a
They
lot
probably
of
ask.
massage.
They probably ask if that's okay
I'm
first.
sure they need consent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, like I get a lot of massages and I've never had anyone lay like or stand on me. Like, I mean, that's a
yeah.
different process. But do you get massages, Kevin? I feel like you could really benefit from like a sport massage.
You know, I never have, and I keep wanting one. Really, I need to get them. Um,
Yeah. Well, you
because
should like find your hand in stone. I don't know if they have hand in stone in Wisconsin, but
I don't know
or
something.
any like massage chain, like
Okay,
start a monthly membership and invest in
okay.
it because it is so good for your body.
Yeah, I definitely need. I mean, because of all the weightlifting and stuff that I do too,
Yeah.
I really do need it. Um, so much tension. So that's on
Yeah.
my
No,
agenda.
everyone who's like into working out, like I always say, you need a sport massage, you need bubble baths, like Epsom salt, a neck massager like that you
Yeah.
heat in the microwave. So Kevin, I'll hook you up with
Okay.
this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna like see if Hand and Stone is in Wisconsin, but if
Yeah.
not, I'm sure you have Massage Envy or something.
Yeah. There's stuff. I know I've seen those. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I wrote here like the chiropractor He makes Michael hard, which is very common with like the blood rushing and massages a
Yeah, it
lot.
happens all
But
the time too, right?
yeah, but how about like, do you remember what the chiropractor says when he finds out that Michael's not getting up because,
It
you know, he has a hard on?
like happens all the time to the football players. Like, okay.
Yeah. I think like right there, he's dropping a clue that he's into,
Yeah,
Michael or just into men in
yeah.
general, who he treats. Um, so, what did you think of their date? That, they go to this restaurant and Michael's like out of place in a way. He's wearing um a Michael Kors. Is he wearing a Michael Kors
Something.
shirt, or I don't know, some designer shirt? And um the chiropractor's like, "Oh, I like is that a such, or I see that your shirt is such and such." And Michael like looks behind him to try to
It's like,
find the
oh,
guy.
I guess it
Like
is. Yeah.
like Michael, that's where I love, he's so naive in a way
Mhm.
of anything pretentious or like anything flashy. He just doesn't care.
Right.
Um but yeah, so like where do you see this relationship going between the chiropractor and Michael?
I think it's super cute. I don't know. Because it's clear that, he makes it clear the chiropractor is like, I want to get to know you. I like you as a person so far. I want to know more. I'm jealous of this Brian person you keep talking about. Like, what's up with that? I don't know. uh, so I don't know. I think it could go somewhere if Michael allows it to. It doesn't sabotage it. You know?
Yeah. Well, and that felt so genuine, like after the first date where like Michael wants to like get into bed with him right away, to like feel that sexual satisfaction. And like, but we know what that's like, right? I mean, I know what it's like when that first date you have, or someone that you really have fallen hard for and you want things to like progress as quickly as possible.
Sure.
But then you remind yourself, maybe the heart will grow fonder if I wait a little. Um, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's all about it is. You're always trying to think about what's best. And based it's different with everybody, every person. Every person has their own way of figuring out romance. And so maybe some are better with getting it over with, maybe some like to have it fester a little bit. And it's all different. And every relationship you go on will be a different dynamic. So tricky.
Yeah. Well, like that saying, "Why buy the cow if you get the milk for free?"
Sure.
Like, I don't
Making
you
sure
think
they want it.
yeah, like don't you think there's a stereotype though, or I hear it all the time, like once men get what they want, they'll just kick you out of bed.
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
do you think that that's actually a reality, or that's just this played up, you know, I feel especially for the sexual side of men that once they're satisfied, they no longer want that person again. Like they want to chase something new.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think how I always want to have a connection with somebody. I mean, I don't always. I sometimes it's just attraction, but even if it's just based off attraction, I like to know a little bit about them. I like to have something that we can bond over and talk about, because that's what makes the sex better, knowing that you like some part of their personality or aspect of them. So like the conquest part of it is never something that appealed to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
I try to sleep with people who I know I will enjoy after the fact and would maybe want to see again,
Yeah.
even if
Like
it's
the
not
after
romantic.
cuddle
Yeah.
and conversation, the post intercourse conversation, I find is so much more illuminating. And
Hmm.
cuddling is so intimate. Actually, Davey Wavy, just his Hamaros channel, he just did a video where it's like after the sex and they're cuddling and having a conversation. I thought that was like a sweet and sweet kind of
Sure.
concept. Um, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like pay to see it, but I'm glad he's trying
Right.
out
Yeah.
new pathways. Um, okay, so Brian takes his client. Oh, this is before the hotel, but what did you think of the dick measuring contest that happens in Dublin?
Yeah, I was like, oh my. And I mean, I don't go out a lot, but I know this happens. I kind of want to be a contestant now, but no. I don't know. I feel like that's fun, but it also can be very crappy for some people. Like when she's like making fun of the other guys, like, oh, you're not 6 inches, like get out of here. I'm like, oh, sorry. Like I don't know, it's kind of rude a little bit, but I guess.
Well, I feel that it's the self-consciousness, like always where there's the next best thing in
Yeah,
those environments. Like in Babylon, there's always a more fit male body. There's a better penis. There's like, it's always this competition. And you're right. Like, unfortunately, it creates this environment where you feel that you're never going to fit the ideal aesthetic.
right,
But I always say, like, I love, you know, queer male or just queer communities in general because I'm coming and showing up as who I am. Like I'm no
right.
longer invested in like matching myself with people. Like that's where when you get in your own head and you feel that you have to conform and one up the other people around you, it is so toxic.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, and I think that's something that everybody has to kind of figure out, because I know when I go into gay environments, I get very self-conscious because I want to be noticed, but I also don't want uh to do, because like I want to be noticed, but I also am afraid of being given attention at the same time, because I don't want direct attention. I want people to like look at me from a distance and admire, but if they start talking to me or trying to pick me up, then I'm like, I don't know. What do I do? Do I so it's a whole double-edged sword. So I always kind of stay home. That's why it makes me a homebody, because it's very scary sometimes. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But that's why I'd say it's always nice to compliment like when you're in a community, um, like with queer men, it's good to compliment each other because I think
hmm
that competition is so ingrained in our
it is.
culture that it can be really hard to grow a large group of men, like male friends, because you think that there's always going to be some kind of put down or like you're not going to be good enough in certain scenarios, or there's always
In
going to be like the option for someone to hook up with one of your friends and it gets
Yeah,
really messy.
messy.
But like just giving each other compliments and creating a
Bringing
safe
each other up,
community. Yeah.
and embracing everybody's strength. And it makes me wonder, because you hear that happens a lot with women, like always same kind of stuff, always trying to be in competition or put each other down, and they have to try to train themselves to get out of that too. I mean, you think of like the Barbie movie recently, they bring that
Yeah.
up. It's something that I guess gay men and straight women have to do all the time. So
Imagine that you're riding the Turner Classic Movie Great Movie Ride in Hollywood studios. It's in the 1990s. As you're journeying through the Great Movie Ride, you pass the Wizard of Oz, where all of a sudden you see the Wicked Witch of the West ascend into Munchkinland in a cloud of smoke and flames. Well, that's the memory I have with the Great Movie Ride in classic cinema when I was at Disney in the 1990s as a young boy. And ever since that, I was hooked on classic cinema. Well, my friend Christian Garcia, friend of the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, has a podcast that you all are going to love. It's called That Old Gay Classic Cinema, and he looks at queer themes in classic cinema like Vertigo, The Wizard of Oz, Sleeping Beauty, Mary Poppins, 101 Dalmatians, Hello Dolly. The list can go on and on and on. So follow him on Instagram at That Old Gay Classic Cinema. You can listen to his podcast on Apple and Spotify. And he also is on the premiere episode of our Queer as Folk podcast, where I'm rewatching every episode of Queer as Folk from 2000. And the episodes come out bi-weekly. So make sure you listen to his episode with me. And he's launching a rewatch show of Smash, where they're putting on a Marilyn Monroe musical. So he's going to be joined by co-hosts, a lot who are in the Broadway and theater industry, and I'm going to be on his first episode. So without further ado, get listening to That Old Gay Classic Cinema. Enjoy. Hi, everyone. Happy almost holiday season. Because the holidays are upon us, I'm sure so many of you out there are thinking, oh my, what am I going to get my friends, my family, my children, my romantic partner, my husband, my wife, any, significant person in your life, look no further than my good friend Mandy Bengal, who makes handmade crocheted items. Her company is called Mandy Made It. You can follow her on Instagram at MANDEE Made It. And you will see all of these crocheted items that she's going to be able to customize for you, including special characters, sports team figures, even holiday items like a snowflake or a Christmas tree. So I have Mandy's keychains. I have the poison apple from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I have a rainbow flag that she made me. So Mandy is able to really customize an order just depending on what your hobbies and passions are. And what item you're really looking for. So because you're listening to me talk about Mandy, she said that anyone who goes to Mandy Made It on Instagram and orders from her, and they've heard the Ivory Tower Boiler Room ad, she will give you all a free Ivory Tower Boiler Room t-shirt with your order. So head right now to Mandy Made It. If you were really looking for that special gift, now you don't have to look any further because I have you covered with Mandy Made It. Okay, I hope you all enjoy your items from Mandy Made It. And please make sure that you take a photo of your crocheted items so that we can share it out on our social media. I know Mandy would love that, and I would love to see what you all are ordering from her. She even has an adorable pillow called Netflix and Chill, and she has these cute coasters that she crochets for your favorite coffee or tea mug. So enjoy all your Mandy Made It products. Yeah, I feel like do you feel that straight men have to deal with like negotiating all of these obstacles with their male friends?
I don't know. It feels like, because when I'm with straight people, it doesn't seem like it's even on the radar. They just they just seem very ho hum, go with the flow, and they don't notice a lot of the things. So
Yeah.
maybe, but maybe there's something I'm not seeing.
Yeah. I mean, I also feel like straight like male friends, I always find like with my straight male friends, we're usually like bonding over an activity or like doing an event together.
Sure.
Like I've never really seen like 10 straight guys go on a vacation together. I
Right.
mean, maybe some do. I'm sure they do, but like they'll go play golf
Yeah,
or go to a sporting game. Um, but like they're not necessarily going like how there's girls' trips. You don't really hear a lot about guys'
that's
trips.
true. That's true. And this is like a hunting trip or something like that, or a fishing trip. Uh, and even then, I'm sure they probably all have separate rooms, So
Yeah, it's not like a sleepover environment.
no,
But
no.
maybe we should bring the straight male sleepover
Right. Let's hear.
parties.
I want to
It's
hear
like
that.
a
I want to
new.
hear from a straight guy and see if they've ever done that or would want that.
I know. Well, I'm gonna have one of my straight guy friends on the show soon, so I will
Okay.
ask him all
Okay.
these like male friendship questions. I like to treat my straight male guys as if they're in a zoo. And I just throw all these questions on them.
Yeah.
It's about time. They can handle it. Okay. So, as we're like nearing the end, this has gone by so quick. Oh my goodness. Um, is okay. We talked about, Marvin. Oh, but I do like when Brian kicks Marvin out of or Brian leaves the hotel room naked first. I'm just like,
Right.
would you really leave a hotel naked? I guess.
That was shocking to me. Just as carrying his clothes down the hall, I'm like, there could be children. I don't know. Just gonna walk outside. You're gonna get in your cab like that too. I don't. It's so random. I mean, more power to you.
Yeah. But like when Brian says your visit to queer world is over, Marvin, um, like putting almost that nail in the coffin. Um, I mean, I do think he is trying to wake Marvin up. Like you said, he wants Marvin to be a good father,
Mhm.
but I also think he wants Marvin to decide
Sure.
about um like is it good that he's actually like can he sleep with the thought of knowing that he's living another a double life
Sure.
in a way.
Right.
But it's interesting because remember Michael says something about living a double life.
Oh,
I think is it Michael? Oh, yeah, Tracy. No. Tracy
oh
accuses Michael
right.
of saying like, "Oh, do you have a double life?" But she's being very funny and
Mm-hmm.
coquettish and playful about it. But I always love that the episodes, like, there's always these mirroring themes happening.
Sure.
Um, like even with Jennifer, with Justin's mom, like you're also getting Justin's mom needs to find community by going to see Debbie at the restaurant. And I
Right.
thought that was a really nice scene when Debbie's like, no, sit down. I'll find you a tea. And then she
Yeah.
like goes through and finds a condom in the tea. And
Like, how'd that get in
Jennifer's
there?
just like, huh? Like you can see just Jennifer is not used to any of these
Mm-hmm.
eccentricities. She's very like J.
By the
Crew
book.
buttoned up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I do like Jennifer though.
I do
And
too.
the moms. Yeah, I like
Mm-hmm.
the moms. Okay. So Michael heads to Babylon for a quick sexual experience. Yeah, so like after his chiropractor doesn't put out for him, he decides to go to Babylon and get a blowjob. Like, what did you think of that scene?
I don't know. It is a little shock to the. I mean, you know, it seemed a little out of character for him, honestly. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're frustrated, and I don't know, like part of me, I'm like, okay, you do you. But part of me is disappointed at the same time. I very have conflicted feelings about it.
Yeah. But like you would think that Brian would be doing that
Yeah,
after like what happened with that male client, but it's almost as if Brian, um, like what he experienced with the fracturing of Marvin and his family, he then actually goes to see Gus and Lindsay, and he's holding Gus at
yeah,
the end of the episode, where
yeah.
Michael like swaps places with Brian. And I
It's
found
so interesting.
there's something like different in their dynamic happening going forward. Like they're starting to
Yeah, cross the lines.
yeah,
Ooh.
cross the line. There you go. Yeah, I mean, our episode is about crossing the
Yeah.
line. I think, or what was it exactly called? I have to remember. I'll find it. But yeah, so
Now
what we
now approaching the line.
thank you. Now approaching the
Yes.
line. Um, so maybe the line is, what is that boundary you're willing to um where is your boundary? Like,
Hmm.
is your boundary um pushing the boundaries with your therapist, like with Justin, and pushing his mom into needing to recognize that he's not going to, change. This is who he is. Um, pushing the boundaries with a business client. And would you have sex
Yeah.
with a business client, right? Because like Brian's making an
Hmm.
morally um I was gonna say like a morally questionable decision
Sure.
there, right? Like you're not supposed to
Right.
have sex with a business client.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
It's just like, yeah. I was like, are you gonna, yeah, you're gonna go to the line. And at what point do you actually cross the line? Do you turn back? Do you like kind of play with the idea? Do you do a little like touch across the line, but don't actually go over yourself? It's
yeah.
very fascinating.
Well, and I think that Michael's really right. He is going to go back on a date, it seems, with this chiropractor, but he decides that he's now needs that sexual experience. Um, but he's not even really invested in the guy who's down on his knees in front of him at Babylon. So,
Hmm.
what's is Michael is he nervous about the vulnerability of starting to date, right? And that's such a real feeling. I mean,
Yeah.
um, I haven't dated for so long because that vulnerability, like I wasn't in control of my heart, right? Like once you start dating, there's always that like there's always a possibility things don't work out, but like that's what you do when you take a chance on love. But sometimes that's why people want to be in an open relationship, or that's why they want to be single or have friends with benefits. I mean,
Yeah.
there's all of these options. It's just
What makes them the
nothing
most
is ever
comfortable? Yeah.
yeah, but right, like Kevin, nothing is ever secure.
No.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what pathway you choose.
Yeah. Life will always throw you curveballs, and people's emotions and feelings are always super nuanced, and their actions will be nuanced. So it's hard to really predict.
Yeah. So what did this episode teach you? Do you feel like there's anything you took away from this, like into your own life?
Oh my gosh. uh
Like, don't walk down hotel hallways naked. That's just a good lesson.
I mean, as much as I want to, yeah, that's probably not wise. I don't want the cops being called. So, uh, yeah, I guess just be open and respectful of people's wants and feelings, and then be respectful of your own. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, you can take in what they're saying, and then take in what you're saying, and then see what if they work or not.
Yeah. So, um, okay, my last question is shag, marry, kill. I don't always do this every episode, but I'm feeling
Okay.
very frisky with the characters in this episode. Out of the I mean you could choose any character, but who would you like with their actions in this episode, who would you want to shag? Like who are you turned on by? Who would you marry? And then who would you just give the axe of not wanting to see again from this episode?
Okay. Um, I would shag the guy that was with Brian in the beginning.
Oh, the
the
Italian,
the
like
Italian baby
American.
killer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He's super cute. I liked him and he seemed really nice. Um, I'd probably marry Michael because I like the awkwardness, I like the dorkiness, I like the nerdiness. That's super sexy to me. Um, and kill, who would I kill? I would probably kill the businessman person.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he annoyed me.
Yeah,
But like that's what I like about the show though, even though like a character really grates your nerves, I also understood why he was doing what he's
sure.
doing, even though I don't agree with it. Like, right? We can open up Grinder and you're gonna see closeted married men
All over, all
everywhere.
over. Yeah,
Like, so that's an experience that men have, you know? It's not like they pulled this from thin air.
no.
Um, so okay, well, this was so fun, Kevin. I loved learning about you.
Yeah.
I hope that, I don't know what your relationship status is, but that Italian actor, the Italian American guy, he did seem, I liked his nurturing side, and then
Yeah.
how he quickly butched it up when Brian gave him the look.
Right.
He's like, "Oh,
I'm
I'm
like,
not supposed to have emotion. Sorry."
sorry. I'm like, he's so cute to me. I love him.
Yeah, so I can't wait to talk with you again. You'll have to come back
Oh,
again.
definitely. Yeah, this is
Like
so fun.
I want to hear about more of your projects. So
Yeah.
where, like I said, you've given your handle, but again, where can everyone follow you? Like, is there anything we should be looking out for? Your podcast, all of that.
Yeah. So you can follow my personal Instagram. And that's the one I mentioned earlier, the KGZ87. That's where I post all my modeling pictures, sometimes singing videos, everything that I do. It's a modge of everything I do in my life. And then my podcast, I have two. There's Words of the Witches, covering the Charmed novels and comics and all the published material in the Charmed universe. And then I have Solving for X, where we're covering, it's like a recap series of all of the X-Men animated shows.
Oh, wow. Okay. I
So it's
love
really
it.
fun. Yeah. And it's very super queer in both of those. It's great.
Oh,
So
good, good.
yeah.
Well, I want everyone to follow KGZ87. It's
Yeah.
in my show notes. Can't wait to have you back on. Like, we'll bring you back hopefully later in Queer as Folk. Like, let's
Sure.
see what's going on in this series. And I might have to like start upping my Charmed knowledge because I did. We do have a recent episode about Scream and Rose McGowan. I like
Okay.
am
Okay.
obsessed with Rose McGowan.
Yes.
Um, and I hope that the charmed women can eventually all be in the same place. But it seems like, Alyssa Milano and the women are at odds.
Yeah. And it's mostly Rose, but I feel like Rose has kind of infiltrated the others, so they're all kind of like, I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it I think has to do with Rose McGowan opening up during Me Too, and then like Alyssa Milano's husband, I think, is in PR in Hollywood, and like Rose thinks
The
that
agent,
he's
CAA,
part
and
of the complicity of what happened with Harvey Weinstein. So like, yeah,
it's a lot. It's a mess.
it's a lot, but like,
Yeah.
kind of, it's not the same scale. Like, I think
Yeah,
this is more of a dramatic,
right.
scale than Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker. But
Sure.
um, I think SJP and Kim Cattrall could come back together easily, but
Mm-hmm.
there's always room for rehabilitation.
Sure.
So,
That's true. That's true.
you know, I think that it's a good sign that Rose McGowan is, like I've seen, she's always present when it's any type of um Comic-Con, a Scream showing, like any project she's been a part of, she always is there for the fans.
Hmm.
So
And the
that's
thing is,
good.
like, all of them, I admire all of them. They're all fighting for something. They're all really admirable in their own right. The fact they don't get along, nothing to do with me, but I respect them all individually. So
Yeah. And sometimes you just don't get along with the people you worked with.
hmm.
And that's
Yeah,
normal. Not
right,
everyone is going to be best friends. I always say
right,
that. Like, talk
exactly.
about approaching the line. Everyone, I feel, always needs boundaries in workplace dynamics, because not everyone, if you think everyone's going to be your friend, you're going to be set up for
True.
failure. And
Hmm.
yeah, we need to protect ourselves. So I
Exactly.
don't know which character I'd be from this episode. Maybe I'm like more Brian. I don't know. I feel like I keep like connecting to Brian as the episode.
Well,
Justin is like having these tantrums, but I can also relate to why he's feeling this way, because this is so new for him. But like, Justin is acting out.
yeah. I gotta admit
Uh,
this now that I'm thinking about it. I always thought Justin was the guy from O Town, was Ashley from O Town for the longest time.
oh my god. Wait, what's O Town?
O Town was that band from like Making the Band. They sang Liquid Dreams and Cause I Want It All or Nothing at All. That song. And
It
there's
sounds
like
like a an NSYNC song.
yeah, it does, but it
Is it
was a
like the
different
same time period?
same time period,
Oh,
early
okay.
2000s boy band.
Okay.
Um, and there's like a blonde kid named Ashley that looked just like this Justin person. So I'm like, I
No,
thought they were the
Justin
same
looks like
person.
he looks like he could be in NSYNC. Like he is a boy band image.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a picture of. Oh my God, look, it's Ashley Park. Google Ashley Parker Angel right now and tell me what you think, because
Okay,
that's what
okay.
I.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
So, this is a good, we'll call this the cliff notes of
yeah,
our, or not cliff notes. This is like the PS of a letter or
yeah.
an email. Okay, let me see. Ashley Parker Angel. Oh, he's still very handsome. Okay.
Yes,
He's 42. Oh, okay, I see. Yes.
it
He
gave me
looks
the same.
exactly like Justin. Like
Yeah,
when
so I thought
Justin
they're the
grows his
same.
hair. Oh
Yeah,
my God. You know what? He kind of like has that Zac Efron,
yeah.
like High School Musical look.
Mm-hmm.
That's another, like, I feel like I have to do an episode about High School Musical, because that was such a formative like time period in my middle school to high school years. Like
See, that
that
came out.
movie.
Yeah, that came out when I was
Yeah.
a senior in high school, and I remember it being on. I remember kind of liking it, but being like angry that I liked it. But it
Yeah.
was, I was. I imagine if I was much younger, it would have been more effective on me. So
Yeah. I mean, I do love, my favorite songs are the Ashley Tisdale and
yeah,
like
bop
her
bop bop
brother character,
bop to the
Bop to
top.
the Top.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had like the best songs. Um, like I wasn't really interested in Troy and Gabriella. I'm like,
No,
okay, snooze fest. Like,
exactly. Yeah, the brother sister dynamic. That was me. That was me too. I was feeling it a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, everyone follow JEEZY87. I will talk with you again, Kevin.
All
And
right.
this was so fun. And bye to everyone out there. Until next
Bye.
time.